بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. On behalf of Understand Quran Academy Hyderabad, I would like to welcome you to our fourth session in which we will study almost half of Surah Al-Fatiha. And also we will study some grammar and then an educational or learning tip. So let us start with Surah Al-Fatiha, and if you can do so, please stop this video for a minute and go to the notes, thoroughly study the meanings, try to memorize them in 1 or 2 minutes, and then replay or start playing it again. So let us start with Ta'awuz first, which is not part of Surah Al-Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, but we are advised to read this before we read Quran. A'udhu, I take refuge. A'udhu, I take refuge. Billahi, in Allah. Min, from. Min is from. It has come 3,000 times. You see, please note that in Surah Al-Fatiha, each and every word is important. Please note that the words in Surah Al-Fatiha have come in the Quran almost 8,000 times. Almost 10%. So take each and every word of Surah Al-Fatiha very, very carefully. A'udhu, I take refuge. Some people say I seek refuge, that's also okay, but I feel, Allah is not far. The moment you say A'udhu Billah, you take refuge, you come in His refuge. So He's not far away. Mina shaitan, from Satan. Ar-Rajim, the outcast. Ar-Rajim, the outcast. And then Surah Al-Fatiha starts, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Ism is name. B is in. There are other meanings, but right now we'll stick to in. Like A'udhu Billah, I take refuge in Allah. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Ar-Rahman, most gracious. Or I would say one of the meanings is intensely merciful. Ar-Rahman is intensely merciful. Ar-Rahim, continually merciful. The words that come in this type, like Ar-Rahman, show the intensity. Like Ghadban, very angry. Atshan, very thirsty. Jaw'an, extremely hungry. So Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is like a heavy downpour, a very heavy rain. It's very heavy. It is intensely merciful. Ar-Rahim, continually merciful. The words of these type show continuity. For example, Jamil, beautiful. You don't call Jamil somebody who was ugly 2 months ago. It cannot be. Or Kareem, who has good morals or manners. You don't call someone Kareem who was speaking bad words just 2 weeks ago. From the time you have seen, Jamil was beautiful and Kareem was having good manners. So continuity is there. Rahim, continually merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He is intensely merciful multiplied by continually merciful. All His attributes, all attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are simultaneous. All of them are present simultaneously. So when we read this Basmala or Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, we should feel confidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us with all His mercy. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdu, all praise and thanks. Remember 2 things. Thanks is included there in hamd, but just to keep both dimensions in our minds while we recite Surah Al-Fatiha, remember both of them. Alhamdu, all praise and thanks. Lillahi, be to Allah. For, li means for Allah, or lillah in English we'll say be to Allah. Rabb. Rabb is the Lord, sustainer, cherisher. Let's understand the meaning of Rabb through a simple explanation. All of us have taken food, and right now there are millions of reactions in millions of cells in our body. We eat food, You also eat food and somebody else eats foods, and after some years he has heart problem, for example. It doesn't occur instantly. It occurs over time. The vein gets blocked by deposition of particles one by one, and each time a particle deposits there, it is with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything that happens in our body from top to bottom in millions of our cells is happening with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine the Rabb. So when we say Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana Rabbil Azim, just imagine He's controlling each and every cell that we are made of. He is the Rabb, and He is Rabb of the worlds. In fact, He is not only giving us food, but He is taking care of us every second by providing oxygen. Continuously He is feeding us oxygen. So He is Rabbil Alameen. Praise be to Allah and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. So when we say this, when we recite in Surah Al-Fatiha and every salah, just imagine, try to bring these dimensions and recite it with the depth of our hearts, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thanking Him for the infinite mercy and for the infinite favor that He has bestowed upon us. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman, intensely merciful. Ar-Rahim, continually merciful. Malik is the master or owner. Yawm, day. Yawm is day, and plural of Yawm is Ayyam. And Yawm and Ayyam has come in the Quran 393 times, so it's almost 400 times. So Malik Yawmiddin, master of the day of judgment. Ad-Din here means judgment. Deen means system of life, like Islam is Deen. That's another meaning. And here the Deen means judgment. Malik Yawmiddin, master of the day of judgment. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very merciful, intensely merciful and continually merciful, but one should not take this as an excuse or as a means to just neglect the worship. Some of the ignorant people, they say, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, so even if I don't pray, no problem, or even if I do this wrong things, no problem. No, He is Malik Yawmiddin. Don't be negligent in performing the duties, because He is Malik Yawmiddin also. I just take one verse here and use the formula that we presented earlier. For example, Malik Yawmiddin. What, to bring this into our lives, we can make a dua, for example, and say, oh Allah, please help me succeed that day. And then after asking, I should evaluate, what did I prepare for that deen, for that day, and make plans. If I have prepared, I have been doing some good actions, alhamdulillah. If not, astaghfirullah. And in either case, I also should plan for the next day, next week, to be successful on that day and propagate. So ask, evaluate, plan, propagate. We can also interact, bring this verse into our lives through this also. After this we come to grammar, the second part.